Hey guys, it's Max. In this video, we are going to be comparing the brand new AirPods Max to Apple's AirPod Pros and helping you decide if it's worth upgrading or if you're trying to figure out which one of these you should buy. You know you want a pair of Apple AirPods, something that's high-end, has all the convenience features. Is it worth spending the extra money on the Maxes? Is the sound quality that much better? Is the active noise cancellation that much better? What about the transparency modes? What about delay? We're gonna be taking a look at all of that in this video. Other than the $250 versus $550 price, the biggest difference is the convenience. I love that the AirPod Pros are so small, I literally take them with me everywhere. They slip into my pocket and they just disappear. I don't notice them, and whenever I want them, I have them accessible. So that is awesome. With the AirPods Max, obviously you guys see this massive size. We have this purse style case that puts them into deep sleep mode. It's adjustable, and just the weight and size difference is huge. You're not gonna be able to take this everywhere you go. It's more like you're throwing it into a backpack, you're traveling, things like that. So if you only have to choose one or the other, I would lean towards the AirPod Pros just for the fact that you can take it with you everywhere. Now, as far as build quality, the AirPod Pros are really nice. They are completely plastic, but they don't feel cheap at all. They feel really premium, they look good, but they still don't compare to the AirPods Max, which are made mostly out of aluminum and stainless steel. We have some really nice cloth here, this little kind of net design, and then the cups are CNC'd out of full aluminum. So as far as the feel and how premium it is, this definitely feels very premium, whereas the AirPods, they just feel good. Now, as far as controls, both are very good. The AirPods Max have this digital crown, and it's really convenient to be able to just spin to adjust your volume. You can also press it multiple times to do certain actions like skip songs or go back. And then we have this single button if you want to toggle between active noise cancellation, off, or transparency mode. As far as the AirPod Pros, you have these stems that are on them, and you actually just press down and it senses it and it makes a little audible click, so you can switch between songs. You can toggle your active noise cancellation in the different modes by holding down, but the one thing you can't do is change your audio with them. You have to use Siri and then ask Siri to change it. Well, you could do the same thing with the AirPods Max, but you don't have to as far as volume, so you can quickly and easily just be able to scroll and adjust it. Another convenience feature with the Max is that you can actually use them wired. It doesn't come in the box, but for 35 bucks, you can get this Lightning to 3.5mm adapter. So if you have a laptop or a computer that doesn't have Bluetooth, or not a good one, you can use it this way, where of course with the AirPods Pros, you can't do that. Now the AirPods do have one very convenient thing. You can use one of these in your ear at a time. So if you don't want to hear full audio, you want to be able to hear your kids really well, you can do that, and then the other one can charge. You can just swap between them. Whereas with the Max, you don't have the option, but of course they both have transparency mode. So we're going to be comparing that in a second. Now, as far as battery life, the AirPod Max is rated at 20 hours with active cancellation, whereas the Pros, they're rated over 24 hours when you include the case. If you're just using the earbuds, then you're looking at about 4 to 5 hours, and then you gotta pop them back to charge. And when you go to charge, you'll get about 1 hour of listening and 5 minutes of charging, whereas the Max will actually give you an hour and a half in that 5 minutes. And now we're gonna do a latency test for those of you guys that might wanna do video editing with Bluetooth headphones or gaming. I'm gonna start out with the AirPods Pro, and I have Call of Duty Mobile opened up right here. We previously did this test and they got about 150 milliseconds, which for gaming isn't too noticeable. It's still a very good experience, even Bluetooth headphones, compared to about 500 with a lot of other ones. I'm gonna go into the menu here because it's the easiest way to test it, and let's go ahead and click. I wonder if these got better over time. Or maybe that is 150 milliseconds. Very little delay. Basically, as soon as I press it, very shortly after. Okay, that is really good. Let's go ahead and set these. Put these on. No difference whatsoever. A very slight delay if I'm trying to focus on it, but very minimal. So basically, if you're gonna be playing or editing, you do have a very small delay that you could notice when you hit the space bar, when you're playing back your timeline or when you shoot, but it is very minor, and if you're not trying to look for it, you won't notice it. Now, with some other ones, somebody's trying to shoot you in Call of Duty, you're gonna hear them half a second later, like with a lot of the Samsung ones, even with their low delay feature on the Android phone. So overall, definitely good for Bluetooth headphones. And now let's go ahead and compare the microphone quality. I'm gonna start out with the AirPods Pro, and I have my voice memo app here to record my voice. We're gonna do this both in this room that has fairly loud AC vent noise, so it's gonna have to try to cancel that out, and then we're gonna step outside where it's quieter. This is the microphone quality of the AirPods Pro in a room that has a lot of HVAC noise. This is the microphone quality of the AirPods Max in a room that has a lot of HVAC noise. All right, let me know down below what differences you heard and which one sounded better, and then let's just go ahead and step out into a quiet environment. This is the microphone test with the AirPods Pro in a fairly quiet environment. And this is the microphone quality of the AirPods Max in a fairly quiet room. And now let's get into what you guys have been waiting for. We're gonna start comparing the sound quality and the active noise cancellation. I'm gonna start with that. And let's go ahead and put in the AirPod Pros. These things sound fantastic for earbuds. And I actually recently took a flight, the first one in pretty much a year, and they did a pretty good job, but I did wish for a little bit more. I'm currently in transparency mode, so let's go ahead and switch over to active noise cancellation. All right, it's on, and almost all the noise went away from our vent that's up there. We have this blower AC room right behind us, and the furnace is always on no matter what in this office building, and that hum, we always have to denoise it from our videos. So putting these in, almost all of it is gone. I still hear some of the high frequency sounds though of the air going through the vent, and pretty much all the headphones I've tested still have that. So definitely a good improvement. Let's go ahead and take these out now. First thing I notice is the ambient mode, but we'll talk about that in just a sec. Let's toggle the noise cancellation. Okay. Well, there should be a big difference because these have 9 microphones and huge drivers in this over-the-ear seal, whereas the AirPod Pros have 4 mics, 2 which are on the external, 2 are internal ones just for EQing, but I literally don't hear anything at all. My voice is cut down dramatically, and I mostly just hear my mild tinnitus that I have. Can't get rid of that. But other than that, I hear nothing from the vent at all. I don't hear the furnace AC noise whatsoever. So definitely the noise cancellation is much, much better. Let's go ahead and compare the transparency mode. Here you go. All right, Vadim, go ahead and talk again.
All right, man, how do you hear me now?
Awesome.
Is it like,
keep talking.
Is it like real life?
It sounds like real life, right? Keep talking.
Yeah, how is it different?
Pretty much the same.
Nice.
Let's put on these bad boys and let me switch them over here. All right, go ahead and talk, Vadim.
All right, man, how do you hear me with the Maxes?
All right, a little better. Yeah, keep talking.
Better?
A little better.
Better than the AirPods.
Both are fantastic. These are slightly better. I mean, these seal in your ears. So they seal in. Yeah. They sound probably about 95% of what you would hear without them. Awesome, they sound amazing. Now the Maxes, they sound 99% with them.
Crazy, dude.
It is so insane how close it is. Vadim, I want you to check this out. Come over here, sit down.
I'm here, let's do this.
This is insane. We should have done this in our first video. So
whoa. Okay,
that's your transparency mode.
Right, that's transparency.
You hear just like I'm talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now.
Whoa, that's weird. Okay, cool.
Now go the off mode.
All right. Whoa. That can't be off.
That can't be off. It sounds like noise cancellation.
I can like hear my voice so loud in my head.
Now go to noise cancellation.
What the heck?
How do you like that?
Whoa. Feels like I'm in what's that isolation chamber Joe Rogan talked about? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And here, okay. Toggle transparency mode. How good is that transparency mode?
Dude, here, hold on. Okay, hold on. All right, talk.
How good is that transparency mode?
What in the world?
You might be, I don't know if you're blocking any of the mics or not, but.
Oh, that's crazy. I can hear
It is
the fan, everything.
It is insanely good. It doesn't sound digital.
Oh, that's crazy.
All right, my turn again. And now it's time for the biggest, most important thing, sound quality. How much better do the Maxes sound? Is it dramatic enough to spend the extra money to deal with the size? Let's go ahead and put the AirPod Pros in that do sound quite good, especially when you consider the size and everything else that comes along with them. Let's go ahead and connect over here. The first track I'm gonna listen to is Where We Started. We often use this one, so I'm very familiar with it, and we can play it for you guys as well since it's no copyright. Let's go ahead and start with the AirPod Pros. Vocals sound good. Not too bright, very smooth. That bass, nice, deep, rich bass. I don't want really any more. Sounds good. And now we're gonna switch over to the Max. Okay, it's very interesting. Her voice sounds so similar. Okay, and then that bass kicks in. It's not overpowering, but has a lot more depth to it. Sounds a lot more rich, sounds wider. Definitely a lot more separation between all those little notes. It's almost like some frequencies I hear here, some I hear further away, some closer. The vocals are like right in the center there. The biggest difference is with the AirPod Pros, I feel the sound like in my head, kind of in one spot, just right here. With the AirPods Max, I don't hear them right where they're at. Everything feels much wider, almost like I have surround sound with a bunch of speakers, and then I can differentiate between the different frequencies much more so than with the AirPod Pros. But of course, this is one track on YouTube, so let's listen to something else. This song's kind of a modern, classic song with some piano, some bass notes. Let's go ahead and take a listen. I love the piano that's in there. And it kind of switches between sides. Nice bass, pretty tight. Not too deep. I feel like I'd want maybe a little bit more depth. But still rich. And a little sounds really good. Pretty loud too. That sounds good. Let me skip ahead a little bit to the special spot here. That little note, it's like stretching to the other side there. Ooh. That sounded a little bit harsh on the high notes. Okay. That section where it got louder and the frequencies got higher just sounded a little bit harsh, and I am listening pretty loud. I love listening to music loud. I think if I turned it down a little bit, it would sound a little bit better there. I think we're maxing out these headphones as far as what they could do. Now let's put on the Maxes. Let's go. So far, sounds pretty similar, but we're just getting into it. Ooh. Some of those high notes, it's interesting. It's almost like they're not being pushed up as high. They sound a little smoother, but they're very well separated from the other sounds. The piano, it's so, okay, I don't want to pause this, but I hear it from one ear, and not only does it switch directly to the other ear, I actually like feel the key presses moving across through my ears. The bass, it's not any heavier, it's not amplified anymore, but it is richer. Okay, here's this tone. Sounds so sweet. Yep. Ooh, okay. Very interesting. I'll tell you in a second. Nice. Ooh, I like that part, but I paused it. Very interesting. Okay, so with the AirPod Pros, okay, this song is a bigger difference than before. Definitely a bigger difference. With the AirPod Pros, I feel the audio switching from the right to the left, the piano. But with these, oh my God, like I mentioned, I feel like I can hear the person playing moving down the piano and the notes moving from one side individually. It's a lot more clear, a lot more clarity there. And with that, when we're switching between some of those notes, instead of just switching from left to right, it's also like it's going from up here down, digging low, which is very interesting. We don't have multiple drivers here that are simulating that. Maybe it's just because they're bigger drivers. But the whole musical experience there is quite a bit better. Now, they're actually a little bit quieter than the AirPod Pros, which I was not expecting. And then when we got to that end, where we have that one note that's being stretched out and it goes higher and it sounded a little bit harsh at the high frequencies, and everything kind of blended together, the couple different notes that are there, you still get perfect separation, and it's still super clear. It doesn't sound crispy or anything like that. That was a pretty big difference. Next, we're gonna do a bass test, but not your typical bass test with a bunch of boominess. Vadim shared with me this Dark Night live concert, and in between two tracks at the 3-minute mark, there is some very deep sub-bass frequencies that you really won't even hear on a phone. There's one tiny frequency that you can barely hear on a phone, but almost everything else there you don't hear at all. So let's go ahead and put in the AirPods, the Pros here. You guys can listen to this with your headphones as well. Hit play. Ooh, Vadim.
Yeah.
I hear those low frequency notes. With a lot of earbuds, you're not gonna be hearing those. That sounds good. Trying to replicate it for you guys. Oh, that little violin coming in. There you go. Now it's getting louder. This is an awesome concert.
Oh yeah.
All right, that sounded good. I'm surprised. Good job, Apple, on those. I mean, I like how those sound. Let's test out the Max. Woo! Vadim! It's like the heart shaking kind of, the bass that moves you, that you don't hear, you feel. So much richer right there, where it kicks it up a notch. We're at the 315, 320 mark. Okay, that violin right there. Instead of just hearing it in between my ears, I heard it kind of moving across, separating very nicely. The guitar right there. Okay, I wanna keep listening, but I'm not gonna keep listening to that. I was surprised. I didn't think the AirPods would be able to hit that low. They do. They're just not that loud and definitely not that rich. It sounds phenomenal here. I would want to watch the movie with these headphones on. This really has me wondering, how low can the AirPods Pro go? I wasn't expecting them to go as low as that track did. My phone, I couldn't hear anything at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and run some different frequencies, and then I will get back to you and tell you guys how they compare as far as ultra low bass. All right guys, that was interesting. I listened to some sweeps, some separate different frequencies, and then some songs, and there's a pretty big difference. Now I have to say, I am impressed with the AirPod Pros because they actually are audible at 15 hertz, as low as that, but very faint. And 30 hertz is kind of where it's still usable. It's fairly loud all the way down to 30 hertz, which is pretty impressive. Now, the AirPods Max, I actually first start hearing them at 10 hertz. Of course, it's not loud, and 25 hertz is still very usable, and it's still very loud. So overall, these are good. These are a lot better. Now 30 hertz, they're a lot more rich as well. You don't just hear the bass, you actually feel it, which is awesome. Now, along with that, I also played this song, which is tuned down to 25 hertz, and it was a massive difference here, absolutely massive. Now, with the AirPods Pro, I mostly heard the vocals. You guys can listen to yourselves, and there was only kind of one bass note when it goes higher up, I'm guessing 30 hertz, where it still stood out and sounded good, but most of the other notes, I barely heard them, and the song didn't sound great. Putting on the Max, man, the vocals were no longer the main thing in the song. The bass was the main thing in the song, and it would dig so deep, and it's loud enough down to 25 hertz, maybe 20 hertz even, where it's enjoyable, and that bass is so rich, and the vocals are kind of a secondary part to the bass. So the difference in ultra low frequency bass is pretty massive, and the Maxes will be absolutely awesome for watching movies. And now let's listen to some rock music. Rock is often very difficult. There's a lot of different instruments being blended together. We have vocals. A lot of it is very loud constantly. So we found this track here. You guys can listen along with us. And let's start out with the AirPod Pros. Good, strong vocals there. A little faint violin in the background. A lot of different sounds. That sounded good, but it was a little bit, I don't want to say flat, but everything is very similar. So I'm very excited to hear how the Max are gonna sound. All right, let's go. Wow, that voice, much more distinctive, a lot more clear, it stands out a lot. The violin, I hear it right here. It's a little bit louder, but it's a lot more distinctive. A lot more richness in the drums there, the bass guitar. Ooh, I can like take each instrument and focus on it very easily. Little drums right here. Do, 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 do. Wow. I don't know what that is, if that's a synthesizer, but wow, okay. How do I describe it? Well, it's like you're by a flat screen TV and you're using the built-in speakers and all the frequencies are blending together. You can turn it up loud, but it doesn't mean it sounds good. And this is like getting a nice home theater system where the quality and the richness and the separation of the instruments stands out and you just get an awesome experience. All right, guys, now it's time for the final verdict. Is there a big difference? And is it worth upgrading or choosing one or having both, really adding it on? So as far as EDM, electronic with vocals, that's actually where I heard the least difference. The AirPod Pros sounded good, the Maxes sounded better, but maybe 20% better. In certain parts it's a little more rich and the bass, vocals are very similar, not a huge difference. Now going into something more like classical music with some bass, that's probably about a 50% difference. When you add in the soundstage with all the little instruments that you can listen to and hear, you add in the separation, you add in how clear the little piano is and the strings, that's a pretty nice difference here. That's where it's starting to make it worth the extra size and weight and price. Now, when we take it a step further and you go into rock music, massive difference. Not only 50% difference, at least 100 or maybe even 200%. You go from a sound where all the different instruments and sounds that are all loud at the same level, they're all blended together. It's hard to separate it. Sounds all right there in the middle. The vocals are kind of muffled, to an experience that is much better in every single way. And if you listen to a lot of rock music, listen to metal, absolutely, you have to go for the Max. It's worth all the extra size and price. Massive difference. And along with that, I also want to add in some true classical. I was listening to some Beethoven. A lot of those classical songs, they start out very quiet, different layers of instruments start coming in. And because the active noise cancellation is so good on the Max, you're able to distinguish and enjoy that without any other background sounds as the song is building. It is an awesome experience for people that love listening to classical music. So overall, I might surprise you guys. If you're just buying one pair of headphones, unless you listen to a lot of rock, I would go for the AirPod Pros. They're cheaper, very convenient. The sound quality is really good unless you're an audiophile. But if you're somebody who listens to rock, or you don't care about the size or your loud environments, absolutely go for the Max, or at least add them to your collection, especially if you're somebody that goes on trains, subways, or if you're stuck at home right now and you don't need the portability of the AirPod Pros. So there you guys go. That is my opinion. We are gonna have a review on this, so click that circle above to subscribe. We're gonna do some very interesting tests for you guys. You won't wanna miss it. And click one of those videos over there. There's some awesome videos that you guys can check out. We have links in the description. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next video.